Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We're live on CKLU 96.7 FM on the radio. We're also streaming live at CKLU.ca online. Just click on the Radio Player Canada app and you can stream us. If you download it, you can take us with you and listen to us anywhere, anytime on your favorite device. We're also streaming live at Facebook.com/Sudbury News, YouTube.com/Sudbury News. On these two our live, and then immediately following the show, we're on those two platforms along with x.com/Sudbury News and Sudbury.news, which is our news aggregator, and that's a lot of news, mentioning the word news in like a short period of time, but that's what we do. We talk about the news. We talk about issues that we're facing in the city, in our region, province, nation, world on the show. And a lot of times we have guests on, which we're going to have this morning. We have Tom Price. We have Bob Johnston on. They come on every couple weeks and give us some updates on what they're looking into and doing research into not only our vulnerable population in the city, but also the finances of the city and some of the decisions we're making in terms of the financial aspect of our city. Tom released a press release on Labor Day concerning Labor Day and how it, from history of Labor Day and how it pertains to the city and how it's going forward. I might ask him a few questions about that particular press release he sent out on Labor Day and many more things as we have a really great discussion. We'll dive in with a little bit of weather first of all, and we encourage you to like, share, subscribe, follow our social medias, and then also comment. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen today and possibly read if there's questions for Tom and Bob as the show goes on. So we'll dive in with a quick weather update, and then we'll be back with our interview with Tom Price, Bob Johnston, right after this. Stay tuned. It's going to be a great show, I promise, or your money back. And Sudbury weather, as usual, brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Currently, it's 8 degrees. It's mostly cloudy out there. And today we can expect a mix of sun and cloud, wind becoming 40 kilometers per hour this morning, and a high of 22. So it's going to get up there. I know it feels a bit cool, but we're going to have a, pretty nice day at the end of the day, high of 22. Tonight, though, cloudy, low of 9. Wednesday, a mix of sun and cloud with 40% chance of showers, high of 21. Cloudy periods with a 30% chance of showers, low of 6 overnight. And then Thursday, you got your sunny icon there. That's what it's forecast to be with a high of 18. Could you get any better than that? And then on Friday, mix of sun and cloud, high of 20. And then 30% chance of showers on Saturday with a high of 21. High of 20 on Sunday, mix of sun and cloud, along with Monday as well with a high of 23. That's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. We'll be back with Bob Johnston, Tom Price, your comments and more right after this. And a few morning shout outs to some of our viewers and listeners. Hey kiddos, this is Nana. Welcome back. Hope you had an awesome trip. Yes, I did have a great trip this weekend with my brother, visiting my mother. It was really awesome. Judy, good morning to you. And Monique, good morning, Sudbury. Cool shades emoji. Marianne, good morning. Everyone from Barrie, liked and shared as usual. Belinda, good morning. Rebellion is born when rulers forget they are meant to serve. Heart emoji. Yeah, I shared something similar to that on my personal Facebook page the other day about leaders and, servant leaders have historically always been the ones that have benefited the ones they serve. That's just right in the language there, serving your community, right? Not ruling and serving are kind of, you got to rule to sometimes when you serve, you're making rules, but are you doing it in a servant manner, right? Leaders who have a servant style is what I prefer, and I think most people would prefer as well. Hazel, good morning to you. Prayer emoji, much needed, much appreciated. And Belinda says, I hear that France's government has fallen. Really? Macron is out. Okay, well, this is breaking news. If that is the case, that's interesting. And Claude, good morning to you. And interesting. Wow. Okay, well, I got to get up on my news. I was watching some of the news yesterday, but it didn't seem to come up on any of my news feeds, which is weird. And UK is next. That's Marianne is saying. Okay. Anyone else joining us? Pierrette, good morning to you. Thanks for being on. And let's just welcome in our guest here. We have Tom Price. We have Bob Johnson. I'll get their mic working, and I'll get them here on the screen. Good morning, Bob. Looks like you're on the screen first. How are you doing this morning?
Great, you?
Good. I'm just going to put on my headphones so I can hear you. That should help out a lot. Great. So what's new? What's happening with you? What's the word on the street these days?
Oh, I'm going crazy. It's unbelievable. We have encampments all on the outskirts of town now. And when I say encampments, my problem is they all have knives. They all have weapons. No services from the greater city of Sudbury go out on the outlying areas, so they're left out once again. The mental health and addictions, there's no help anywhere. I drove a guy up last Thursday out of an encampment to Elliott Lake, brought him in. Oh, we can keep him for 5 days for a detox, and that's it. So today, after the show, I'm going back up to pick him up. Where am I going to put him? Back in the bush. I called everywhere. And this guy wants treatment. He was ready for a 21 to 30-day program, and there's nothing available. I called everywhere. I even called the Northern Ontario Addictions and Mental Health Treatment Centers. 3-year lead on OHIP, or show up with $48,000 at their door.
Ouch.
What is this world coming to?
Not sustainable.
It just blows my mind. Then I got a great concern about Sudbury housing, what's going on. Okay? Our greater city of Sudbury owns them. We have Rumble Terrace, who is way out of control. The shootings, what we hear about is nothing. And then what we have is they're building on Louis Street. I don't even know if the elevator is fixed yet, which is another great concern as me being disabled myself. So where are we going? There is no help. And downtown Sudbury, I shared a video yesterday, and a true video of yesterday, of Tom Davies Square. The guy who posted it had 327 shares in 10 hours. I shared it. We had over 10,000 views in 12 hours. And it's a pathetic video of how disgusting the city really is. And to me, is that why they're moving out to Zilda? I'm not sure.
Well, I thought...
And the stuff and the news, what we're hearing from encampments and so on, are maybe 5%. Okay? There was a confectionery store robbed in Lively by some. Did we hear about it? No. There was a restaurant robbed. Did we hear about it? No. So why are these people labeled and treated worse than animals? That's one of my questions. Another great concern I got is, where is the fire station and Samaritan Center going downtown? Oh, no, they're not moving. They're not moving. I've heard that for over a year now. But if you look at the downtown master plan from the city, the Samaritan Center and the fire station is not on it. Okay? So now we have the feeding resources for the homelessness and addictions and mental health up in the air because nobody knows nothing. It makes no sense to me. Winter, hey, we're in the middle of September now. Is anything planned from the last 10 years? No. Oh, we got this. Oh, we're going to do that. Oh, we're going to do this. Where is it? We have nothing. These people are going to freeze again. And these people on the outskirts who are on addictions and so on don't have the access to Nikon kits and so on and so on. There's some people looking for them in the bush. The facilities and all the organizations are staying based downtown. Come on, there is nobody downtown except for Cedar Street and Tom Davies Square. Minto Street, you get the odd 10 now and then, and so on. Energy Court, same thing. Place is a mess. What are we going to do? I wouldn't want to live there. Why can't they have a little bit of facilities and so on? And then I'm going to bring back the washroom. 6 years now I've been complaining. I've been complaining since Jerry Montpellier has been complaining. And what? Can't do washrooms, but we can do washrooms for the Pride Parade. We can do washrooms for the Blueberry Festival. We can do washrooms for whatever's going to toot council's hat. Let's be human, people. Please.
For sure, there's a couple stories out because of this police report that came out, one in the Sudbury Star, one in Sudbury.com, about Sudbury's downtown and about homelessness, about addictions, about crime. And it's interesting how the two outlets covered the story very differently. Sudbury Star's headline is very different from Sudbury.com's. So Sudbury Stars is more arrests, more charges this year in Sudbury's downtown, say police. And opioid crisis is one of the main reasons why, police said. So that's from the Sudbury Star. And good morning, Diane, and good morning, Northern Hillbilly. Thanks for being on, guys. Along with Rogue, good morning to you as well, as people are joining us, just giving some morning shout outs here. So, and it seems that, but then
per population,
yeah, no,
we're number one.
So per population, we're number one in what?
Crime rate.
Okay. And I don't know why Sudbury.com is hell-bent on telling us that violent crime is down. Like they just, I was looking at their numbers the last time they reported on this, and they were interpreting the numbers in a way that they were taking a lot of liberty by saying violent crime was down. They were switching the categories around and stuff, and it's really not. But they consistently say violent crime has dropped over the same period. So they put that right in the subheading in Sudbury.com, whereas Sudbury Star just says it as it is, which I really appreciate. I don't know why Sudbury.com is a little bit more spinning the story that, don't worry, violent crime's down, guys. Don't worry, everything seems to be fine.
Well, out of all fairness to Sudbury.com, did they start the story off by saying once upon a time?
No, they just, so their headline is downtown complaints of homelessness and drug use are on the rise. So that's their headline. Downtown complaints of homelessness, drug use is on the rise, say police. That's what they got from the police report. And a different reporter reading the same report gave a headline of more arrests, more charges this year in Sudbury's downtown, say police. So you see the difference between that? So if I was to read those two headlines, the one is more arrests, more charges this year in downtown. And then that's Sudbury Star. And then I go immediately to Sudbury.com. Downtown complaints of homelessness and drug use are on the rise. So one is just people complaining about it. And the other one, there's actual arrests and crime. So which one is more close to the actual thing. I think, sure, there could be a lot more complaints, but what would you put in a headline? It's just they're trying to soften something or something, what I find all the time, Sudbury.com is.
Exactly. And that's what the sad part is. And that's what frustrates me, you know? Like for example, why do we have all this bylaw and security around who does nothing except take taxpayers' dollars? Why are we not investing in the police force and the police officers who can make change and do something? And hey, don't get me wrong, our police are great, but you know what? They're so overtired in work because they go to the courthouse and the courthouse gives out lollipops to all these other people. And that's what one of the main goals is in Sudbury, is that we don't have any hard judges to make a statement.
And so they're not tough on crime. You can do anything you want and you won't really face any penalty for it. Is that what you're saying?
For example, in 1999, I worked at Cecil Phaser for 3 years, okay? We were always full, 126 inmates. Today, they're closing it. Back in the day in 2000, early 2000, I worked in group homes for 8 years. And there was 8 group homes. And we loved the kids and we helped the kids. Today, we have 1 group home in Sudbury. So what, everybody became angels overnight? No. It's because they can't be bothered. There's no more love, care, and respect in this city anywhere. And then let's talk about crisis. The crisis is the homeless. The crisis is the addictions. The crisis is the criminals. The crisis is the roads. The crisis is housing. I can go on, but I always got to put the word crisis before. Why? But you know what? Let's build that arena. Right on.
Now, some things that were mentioned a couple of times is that council is moving out to Isilda, and there's a lot of speculation as to why that is. And isn't it just because they're doing renovations in Tom Davies and it's only going to be for a short period of time until the renovations are complete?
We don't know because we're not told nothing. It's all behind closed doors, hush, hush. My question would be, where are they going to get their meals for the meetings?
I'm sure there's some really great dining establishments in Isilda that they could utilize and pay for with your money.
You know, it's just so sad that me and Tom have invited them out on the streets and stuff with us so many times. Nobody can be bothered. Nobody can even make a phone call out of our mayor and council. And that is so disgusting. Because, and have you ever noticed the photo ops around Sudbury? You gotta love them. Oh, I'm eating a hamburger. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Have you ever seen a photo op with any councillor or mayor or management with a homeless person?
No.
No. Why?
Maybe they just do it in secret so they don't get public accolades. Maybe they're out working with the homeless all the time, but they just don't want to do it as a photo op. They just want to do it in secret and not do it for public accolades.
Yeah. Well, before I hand it over to Tom, all I got to say is the city is full of crisis. Our city hall is not waking up. I shared a video, like I said yesterday, on City Hall. It's not a pretty sight. And let's get rid of all these high doing bylaw and security who can't do nothing anyways. And let's put a couple more officers out on the street who can at least do something. Because all we're doing now is, it's a joke. It is a total joke. Hey, you can't do that. You got to move that, or else, I'm bylaw, blah, blah, blah. Or, hey, I'm security. Please don't do that. They can't do nothing. And the public knows it. The homeless knows it. The addictions knows it. So when are we going to get together and do something? And there again, I'm going to call out right now, Jamie West, France Gilna, Jim Belanger, who's new, and I give him credit. France Gilna, we voted you in for the people. The people are suffering in here. There is no friggin' healthcare or nothing in here. Yeah, some people have good examples and stories out of HSN. That's fine. That's what, 10%? What about the other 90? And I got a serious issue about our government right through. But the problem is we can't fix the world, but we can try and help fix Sudbury. So once again, Paula Faven Council, if you want to learn something, I'll give you my time for free. I'll give you my gas for free. All I'm saying is open your eyes and look around. Thank you. Any questions?
Much appreciated, Bob. And I just want to let everyone know when you sound a bit frustrated when you talk, and you have a little bit of an abrasiveness, and some people they're taken back by that, and they're like, oh, can't you just say it nicer, or can't you just use nicer words or things like that? And I just really want to let our audience know that when you're working every day with the people that are really in need, and the ones that are affected by it, you don't become basically a fine-tuned public speaker who's you're just saying it like it is, and a lot of times your passion comes out because you're dealing with this on a daily basis and things like that. So I just really wanted to let our audience know, because sometimes I've heard from people from the city, obviously, that, just sounds like you're going around complaining all the time. But at the same time, like, it's because you're dealing with this on a day-to-day basis, and you keep seeing it, and you want changes, and you want positive changes. And these are people that you see on day in and day out that you want to, they're struggling, and you want to be able to assist them. Right. And so, yes, people who are frustrated sometimes sound frustrated.
So before I pass it on to Tom, my answer on that too would be, I've been doing this for over 12 years. I've never got a dime from the city. I took the goodness of my heart to take this guy to Elliott Lake on Wednesday. No expenses. Everything's paid. I paid out of my pocket. Mm-hmm. Came back, blew my transmission. Okay. Paid for that, got it back on the road, and after today, I'm going back to get them. My time, my money, because I care. That's all I got to say, and here's Tom Price.
For sure. And here's something I do hear again, and Bob, I know you're not going to be able to speak to this because we're going to be with Tom for a second, but you have Ann here who says, Johnson, lots of complaints, no solutions. So I'm going to actually let Tom speak more to that, because Tom, I guess, when we're speaking, I hear lots of solutions from you as an engineer and someone who has a background in big projects and financial matters and things of that nature. And so we have the two of you on a lot of times for that reason. But getting to the bottom of things, you need people who are going to be bulldogs and sniff things out and find things out. It doesn't mean that particular person has to sniff things out, find the problems, and come up with all the solutions all at the same time. Everyone has their strengths, and people have weaknesses as well. And I would just like everyone to be aware of that and look inside yourself and ask yourself we're all not perfect people, right? We're all just trying to do the best we can at what we do. And so just want to keep that in mind. And with that, Tom Price, good morning to you.
Good morning, AJ. Just to readdress one little item, you talked about people wishing things could be said in a nicer manner, that you don't show aggression and all that. Well, in my day, and I realize I'm old, that was called candy coating. And the candy coating only applies until the candy is all consumed. Once the candy's consumed, then you've got one big mess on your hands. We're at the point where there's no more candy left. And if you believe there is, you haven't received next year's tax bill yet. Okay, so that addresses that. Now, you indicated earlier that you wish to discuss our latest news release. You have questions?
Well, I really like the little bit of history you gave on Labor Day. It's something they don't really see too often. And then you basically tied it into local as well, which I really appreciated. You know, just the idea of Labor Day, how it began, why it was there, what purpose it served, and then now what do we look at it as for today? And it's kind of like we've lost the sense of what Labor Day kind of really is, and maybe we need a little bit of reminders of what it used to be and what we could, you know, make it today, kind of thing. I'm just, what are some of the things you would like to highlight out of, you know, what I just kind of gave an overview, but if you wanted to expand on any of that.
Well, as I've indicated before, I've been in project management for 60 years. And one of the biggest tools of project management is cause and effect. Well, we always see the effect before we identify the cause. The effect on Labor Day, we've seen Labor Day has become now a party time. It's no longer a celebration of the accomplishments of labor that have built the country. Okay, so if we get back to doing the cause and effect, we can accomplish mountains of accomplishments. It's just finding solutions is so easy once you have identified the cause. Okay, we have no one who even understands that there is a cause for all these effects that are happening. Everything that Bob just talked about. Who's looking for the cause of those? And quite frankly, nobody. Okay, John Lindsay had a CARP meeting regarding that, and I raised the question there. Who is looking for the cause of the homeless, of the mental illness, of the homeless? Or did I say homeless already? Anyhow, addiction and the crime. Well, one of the causes of the crime has been the release of criminals during COVID. And those people are still on the street. When that crisis was over, why weren't those criminals called back to prison or called back to prison to serve the rest of their term? No, they're out on the street. Now they've been married into a homeless group. What caused our homeless and continues to cause that homelessness? Well, we've mechanized all the minimum skills jobs and given them, because of the mechanization, given those jobs to semi-skilled or skilled workers. What has that done for us? Well, we get a lousy job done on street cleaning. We get a lousy job done on almost everything that unskilled laborers used to do a good job of. And we now have a shortage of skilled labor. Well, let's lay off a number of those people, retrain them to fill the skilled labor gap, put the unskilled labor back to doing the unskilled jobs or low skilled jobs. And guess what? We're going to solve a lot of problems. We will have people who can afford a home again. We will have people who won't be out on the street living. We will have people who can go to the bathroom, that don't have to use the street as their bathroom. I mean, the open sewers here now are worse than they are in Paris. And if you've ever been to Paris, you'll understand my comment. But look at the cause. Is it so hard to look at the cause? I mean, people who get unemployed at the age of 60, for whatever reason, maybe a production cut or something, where do they go for another job? No one will hire a 60-year-old that's just been laid off. So what does he do for an income then, or she? Well, they can't do anything because nobody will hire them. Why not? There's 60 years of knowledge and talent sitting there in that individual. We had a point at one period where we had to have equal pay for equal work. We would get in temporary workers at INCO to work along with the employees and do a job. And I heard complaints all the time that the temporary workers weren't getting paid the same as the full-time workers. So I explained to them, I said, when you come in here to work and you have to go get a piece or something that's needed to do your job, do you know where that's located? Well, no. said, right, the permanent employee does. So your production rate compared to that permanent employee cannot possibly be the same. You're getting paid for productivity. We don't account for that anywhere in our society. Like, there are no laws even.
But Tom, many people will
right.
say, many people will just say that's old school. We've moved on from that. We're in a progressive society. Those are old principles. We have new principles now, and we're moving forward in our society. We're making progress.
I'm sorry. We do not have new principles. We have no principles. We have no moral standards. We have no ethical standards. We have an integrity commissioner, with no ethics. How does that work? Well, not very well. New principles? Yeah, the new principle is we don't have any law enforcement. I spent the weekend traveling 1,400 kilometers on Ontario roads. Never once, only once, did I see a police cruiser. And I was traveling at 15 kilometers over the limit. Other people were passing me, and he was keeping up with the other people. So what is the meaning of the speed limit? What is the principle of obeying a safety law? Because those speed limits are safety laws. I did work with the MTO many years ago, where they explained to me how they establish speed limits on roads. The curves, the angle of the pavement in those curves, the line of vision, the braking distance, all comes into those safety rules that establish the speed limit. So how did that officer who flew by me, how did he justify ignoring those safety limits? Well, there's no principles. So when you suggest that this is a new whatever, and we have new principles, yeah, we do. There are none. When people get arrested, we have a case in St. Catharines where a convicted guy who sexually abused a young lad a few years ago is out of prison, and he sexually abused a 4-year-old young girl. And it was on the news, but then it was sort of terminated because he was having his bail hearing. How on earth did he get a bail hearing? The judge should have thrown the bail hearing out the door and said, no, he's incarcerated till we decide which prison he goes to. Where are our principles? A 4-year-old girl. Come on. And I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but in my opinion, that individual deserves the death penalty.
Well, you're not alone, Tom, with this. And there's many people who are frustrated with the way that the legal system is going, the catch and release principles of our government instilling this in our legal system. It's all done in the ideology of caring for the criminal, like caring, like what, so they committed a crime, but we can't just punish them because there's a reason why they got to where they are. And we need to be aware of that and not punish them too harshly because, you have to have empathy for the criminal. And in doing this, they're changing the entire legal system and they're very light on crime. They don't really enforce a lot of the laws that we have because they're like beyond that. Like you said, maybe we don't have any laws anymore. Maybe it's just all up to the judge's interpretation and they're able to just decide what they want for whatever reason. Because if you go back to the laws, it looks like they were made a certain way and main laws really haven't changed all that much over the last 50 or so, or even more years than that. But the way we interpret them and the way we enforce them is definitely changing. And criminals are being let back out onto the streets very quickly. And they continue then to perpetuate a life of crime. And many people are affected by that. And we see it countless times just in the States. Now, I know the States isn't Canada, but I could use a million examples from Canada. There was just someone, a refugee from Ukraine, a man who's been out on bail, I don't know how many times, like 18 times he's been arrested in the last few years They showed all of his mug shots. He just gets, the lady comes onto the subway car or the bus and then sits down in front of him and he just stabs her to death for no reason. No reason whatsoever. But that's not really in mainstream news because you can't really have that going out because obviously Ukraine, everybody is like, oh, Ukraine is like the holy grail of anything. If a Ukrainian refugee gets killed by someone who's out on bail from all of these, lighter liberal type laws, the way that the legal system is going, people will start to get angry because they'll see it more. And we see all these home invasions in Canada. It's because people are let out early. They're not completing their sentences from earlier crimes. And so they're let back out on the streets and now they're making our lives more dangerous.
Well, two things. First of all, thank you for calling it the legal system, not the justice system. Mm-hmm. Because you're right. It is only a legal system. Okay. And as far as them getting out early in that, basically our prisons have become training grounds for criminals. They are only in there long enough to find new techniques to get away with whatever they want to do. Okay. And then they're back on the streets with the new talents. Isn't that great? We're educating our criminals better than we educate the innocent citizens. And that is a fact. If you want to learn how to be a criminal, commit some small crime so you can get thrown in jail, then you can learn from your peers in jail. Okay? So thank you for differentiating between justice and legal system, because there is no justice system in this country. It is all legal.
And I do this show so often. I'm constantly looking at the news, and I'm one that does try to look at the cause, whether it's my health or whether it's my life in general. If I want to better my life, I look at the causes. I look at what am I doing that affects my life, that I can make changes. Because doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results is what we call the definition of insanity. And so you have to look at the cause. And if you look at the cause of all these things that are going on in our society, you find a group of people that want to benefit from the collapse of our system that we've had. Like I said, you're old school, Tom. Many people will say we're in a progressive society now. We got to do all these things differently. And we were so wrong before on all these things. The society we built is totally wrong. And we're taught that in universities now. It was built on wrong ideas by wrong people, and people were wronged, and we're trying to right it. That's what main philosophy is taught in universities now. And we have all of our young people coming out that are now they're basically protesters of our society, and they want to take it down. And so we see that on every, whether it's legal system, whether it's education, whether it's health, whether it's anything, they're just changing everything, like you said. And I liked how you said there's just no principles now, because that's really what it is. If you ask them, what principle are you basing what your decision is on? It's hard to, they just have to just talk in circles until you get confused or you're just, okay, stop talking now, because they're not really saying anything. It's just word salads that we're getting from our politicians. And there's no substance to what they're saying.
No, and we talk about progress. Well, progress is great, except when it outruns evolution. When it outruns evolution, you lose control. We're there. Our progress is beyond what society can evolve to. And society has not evolved to having a competent, sustainable society because of the progress. And you have to temper that progress with the rate of evolution. And we do not do that. We don't even recognize evolution. We don't recognize that what we have has evolved. It hasn't been dictated. Every attempt to dictate where our societies are going have failed. So the only thing that lasts is what evolves by people doing what they need to do to survive. And that's been a constant throughout 100,000 years. And it will continue to be a constant because we live in an evolutionary world. We can't change that. Yeah, we can progress beyond the limits capable of being tolerated. And one example is the internet. Okay? They brought in the internet. Well, I'm sorry, but society was not ready for the internet. And what has happened? Most of our crime fighting now is fighting cyber crime. So be careful what progress you show, because you're going to get in trouble.
And we haven't seen anything yet, because AI is right on the cusp of also hurling us into uncharted territory as well, and we're going to see how that goes. But unfortunately, that's all the time we got for today, Tom. So the subject matter was great, though. I think we touched on all kinds of stuff, and I'm sure the audience, there's all kinds of really great comments here. So I would encourage you to go back and look at some of those comments, and if there's some things that you wanted to respond to, anyone can continue the conversation on Facebook. So thank you very much, Tom. We'll have you guys back on the show as soon as whenever you want to reach out, and we'll have you guys back on the show.
Okay, well, I'll just turn you back to Bob then.
Okay, thanks, Bob, for being on as well. Continue the fight downtown and throughout our city. Everyone appreciates the work you do.
And thank you for sharing the truth.
Thank you, Bob. And thanks, everyone, for staying tuned today. We enjoyed our conversation with Tom Price and Bob Johnson. Remember to stay aware, like, share, take care. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. And we'll be back. Same time, same place on the same platforms, God willing, tomorrow. Ciao for now.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.